gosh, I'm so excited that you're
Mm-hmm.
in Phoenixville with me and we're able to have a one-on-one podcast.
Exactly. An
Uh,
in-person, in real life podcast.
yeah, and I think this just goes to show that you need to move, Pennsylvania?
You know what? We'll see. See. I don't think that's necessarily
But just think we could have we turned my rec room into
a
a,
podcast
a
studio.
podcast studio,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean we could do this every weekend,
Yeah.
and I think the listeners would really enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I guess we can just do it on Google Meet or virtually like we've been doing.
Yes, exactly.
Whatever.
And I guess your layer is right there.
Yeah.
The perfect just astrophotography office
Well,
in there.
and the cool
Studio here.
what people aren't seeing is I redid my office.
Yeah.
So in the next episode that we do virtually, you'll see the updated office in the
That is,
background.
I actually didn't even realize that, and I guess behind the fourth wall, the because we filmed the tutorial,
Yeah.
obviously,
Yeah.
with that background. I
And we
didn't.
need to release that
I know.
tutorial.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I forgot that we haven't released anything with your new backdrop,
Yeah.
which is obviously
Yeah. Was the tutorial though with the new background drop?
it was.
I think it was. Yeah,
Yep.
you're right.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right.
Um.
Yeah. I get really nervous because I have the 130 hung up, the Celestron
Mm-hmm.
130 hung up on the wall.
Yep.
And every day I come home like, oh my gosh, did it fall? But
Mm-hmm.
I think I got the anchors in the wall pretty good enough. That,
Okay.
yeah,
Good.
I think so.
Yep. Good.
So we'll see. I think viewers are going to like that we are in person, Brett.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah.
This is um, and we've made your rec room a
Full
podcast
studio.
studio space. Yeah. We will post pictures, but
Yeah.
yeah, the fact that we have our ring lights, we have cameras set up. Yeah.
I know. And I think it was funny last episode I talked about being pampered.
Oh yeah.
I
And
kind of feel like
glam.
all we need is somebody to come over here and just like,
Well,
do their
exactly.
thing
The only thing that
with the way the studio looks right now.
the only thing that would make this more official is if we had a crew back there that
I
was
know.
actually
Well, if
helping us with all the AV.
I know. So, Brett, I think we're talking about something today that's a little different
Hmm?
than just like regular old astrophotography.
Yeah.
It's something that is pretty near and dear to my heart, and I know you have your opinions on it. I'm sure people who are going to be watching are going to have plenty of opinions on it, but I think it would be good to have this conversation. I think because we're taking amazing photos of the night sky. And I know, like, for example, when I got the Andromeda Galaxy, and you have over 1 trillion stars, just to think, what is in that galaxy that could be looking back out at the Milky Way galaxy, like life forms? Of course, it'd be 2.5 million years ago.
Hmm.
What are they seeing? Are they looking back at me on my sidewalk in 2.5 million years from now? Like, yeah, I think it's really fun to think about.
It is for me, a fun thought to entertain and a fun thought experiment. And so, if anyone hasn't caught on, yes, we are going to be talking about aliens
Yeah.
this episode.
Yeah, and I think not only just aliens, but also, like, the concept of the things that we're imaging, could there be life
Yeah.
in those nebulas, in the solar systems?
Hmm.
Earlier today, you were talking to me about a planetary system.
Yes, I was talking about K218b, which actually the interesting thing about that, and I'll pull it up.
Okay.
So K218b was a planetary system that JWST, the James Webb Space Telescope, imaged last year
Mhm.
for not a visual image of the planet, but that imaging that they do where it's like the
Wait, is
um,
this the first time we have video of, like, planets going around a star? Is that the video that you're talking about?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. Although it very well could be.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, the there have been so many stories about
Yeah.
different planetary systems come out that I forget which is which. But at least I know with this one, it's the one where they do the imaging for like the chemical composition.
Got you. Okay.
And the chemical composition, there was one compound that was on it that is very much so uh in line with a planet that would have to have had life on it.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Um,
Gotcha.
and the cool thing about K218b is that it is 124 light years away from us.
Hmm.
I took a photo of K218, which is the star.
Okay. Of
Obviously, I can't image the planet, but so
course.
above Chicago, I found where the star was, and I was like, you know what? This is all the rave right now. I'm
That's
just
pretty
gonna take
cool.
a
I
photo of
might
it.
do that too.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like it's fun because it was yeah, I took that image last May, and yeah, it was right above the Chicago skyline, near between the Leo and Virgo constellations, and it's very much like the concept about it that's so cool is that in terms of the stars and nebula that we image, and especially the galaxies that we image, 124 light years is close.
It's close.
Yeah,
Yeah,
on a cosmic scale, that is relatively close.
it is.
And what I found so fascinating, and obviously anyone can check these numbers, or yeah, there's obviously variation and margin of error and whatnot, but at least what I was calculating last year, 123, or sorry, 124.3 light years away is 730.7 trillion miles. So that's, you know, insanely far on our scale. And then if Voyager 1, which is the fastest, you
Mm-hmm.
know, spacecraft that we have, traveling at 38,000 miles per hour, it would take it 8 million years to arrive at K218.
And it's funny, actually, this year, 2026,
Hmm.
is when Voyager is finally going to reach a light day.
Yes.
I think it's in
Hmm.
November. It's
Okay.
reaching a light day.
Yeah.
So I think that was
Okay.
44 years
I
ago.
know
Correct me if I'm
in
wrong.
that
In
magnitude.
that, yeah, in there somewhere. And to think it is now finally reaching where it takes light one day to
Day.
get to it.
Yep.
That's
Which,
wild.
so 1 day in 40 years. So that just conceptually to get to 2.2 million
Hmm.
years, that seems like it checks, at least from
Yeah,
a magnitude point of view.
yeah.
And then, according to our our theoretical technology, so if we had a nuclear fusion rocket that could reach 500,000 miles per hour, it would take 167,000 years to arrive at
Yeah.
K218.
Yeah. So what you're talking about this planet, you got a photo of the star.
Yes.
I think what NASA was saying in the composition that they got off the planet
Hmm.
was that the chemical compounds being exposed in the atmosphere can only exist as we know if there was life on the planet.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, actually, I've seen just from my post, it's yeah, compelling data that suggests that the exoplanet may contain a hydrogen atmosphere and a global ocean. Yeah, whatever was
Yeah.
picked up.
So I
All still just a theory or hypothesis.
Yeah, so I think that brings it back to, we're imaging. I just got the Cone Nebula the
Hmm.
other day,
Yeah.
and I was just looking for something to image, and I was like, "Oh, you actually suggested it."
Yes.
They're like, "Oh, Nick, why don't you
Hmm.
go for the Cone
Yeah.
Nebula?" And it was a fainter object, a fainter nebula, and it was really, really what my ASI took me to was the Christmas tree cluster,
Yes.
which
It's all
the
like
Cone Nebula is in the Christmas tree cluster.
got it. Okay.
So that's really what I imaged was the Christmas tree cluster with the Cone Nebula in it. And that was 23, I think it's estimated to be 2,700 light years away. So you're talking about that's 100 and what, 26,
For 124.
124 light years away, and we're imaging nebula. I just got it last weekend. That is up to 2,700 light years away. Some are even further. The Rosette's what, 5,300 light years away.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's where the question comes in. We're looking at
Mhm.
all these stars. NASA has proven that solar systems exist throughout the galaxy. They proved it. We are not the only known solar systems. In
Yes.
fact, there's a lot of scientists with NASA who say that it's abundantly clear that a lot of stars have solar systems.
Yeah. Many have solar systems. So if you think, I think the Milky Way, how many stars do we have?
I
It's like
think I think the Milky Way has like 200 to 300,000 stars.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think it can be assumed that pretty much every solar system from that point has, a multiplier of planets,
Yeah.
maybe 2 to 10
Yeah.
planets. So it's like that brings it to obviously, millions of planets.
Mhm.
And that actually, when I was looking at K218b last year, the thing that I found fascinating was the Drake equation, which is an equation that it basically is an equation that estimates the number of communicative civilizations in our galaxy and the variables, let's see. Yeah, it has variables for the average number of stars that could support life and the fraction of those where life actually develops. It's it's very essentially just like one large algebraic equation that's all just like all of these different variables are just coefficients of each other,
Mhm.
but it just creates like this probability of basically how likely is it that other of these solar systems support life.
Mhm. And this is just the Milky Way galaxy.
Yes, this is just looking at
So then
Milky Way.
you're talking about trillions of galaxies
Literally,
in the
like
observable
in the
universe.
observable and then potentially unlimited
Yeah.
in the entire galaxy.
Yeah.
Or in the entire universe.
And then there's some folks who say there's multiple universes.
Yeah.
You know?
So
Yeah.
there's a lot of it's amazing how that compounds. Like
Mhm.
everything that we're testing in terms of exoplanets, that's all still only within our galaxy,
Mhm.
and quite frankly, only within
Our
our
galactic neighborhood
our neighborhood.
in our galaxy.
Exactly,
Yeah.
like only our arm of
Mhm.
the Milky Way. Like we
Mhm.
can't see the other arms of
Yeah.
the Milky Way on the
Yeah.
other side, which is
Yeah.
yeah, that's mind-boggling to think about. Because also conceptually, the Milky Way, I want to say it's 100 to 150,000 light
Something
years
like that.
across.
Yeah.
And so, if we're on one end, the star on the other end, 100,000 light years away, is quite literally like that is even just the light, if we can see a star out there, is from 100,000 years ago. It's
And you're
just,
talking about humans just arriving in on Earth not too long ago at
it,
100,000 years. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I try to think of the timeline of life on Earth and humans, because obviously humans were a small blip in just even the the life of Earth and our solar system. I think I think our solar system is like
4.5 billion.
billion years old. And so the Earth, it's taken 4 billion years for the Earth to have intelligent life.
Well, I think I agree with you. I think intelligent life like humans,
Well,
because
true.
there's some animals on the planet before us that would probably be classified as at least semi-intelligent
Uh, True. Yeah. I
animals.
mean, yeah,
Yeah.
I won't
Yeah, I know
deny.
you're talking about, like,
Yeah,
human intelligence.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm not sure like where on the scale of intelligent like dinosaurs would be or
Mhm.
something, but that does play into the probability of like how long might it take for a solar system and for a planet to have intelligent life form going from single cell
Mhm.
organism to intelligent civilizations, with Earth being our, sample one of one. We just know that it took humans 4 billion years to
Mhm.
show up. And the universe, as far as we know, is around 13 billion years old. So, that's a third of the life of the universe
Mhm.
so far for us to pop up in our
Mhm.
solar system. So,
Yeah, I think so. I don't think it's really debatable whether there's life somewhere else in the galaxy or universe.
mm,
I think most reasonable people can get behind that notion that okay, we're definitely not alone. Like,
agreed.
because first off, we're made up of the most common ingredients found in the universe
Mm,
as like a species. Like, we're made of the most common ingredients
we are
found.
a carbon-based
Yeah, organism.
species. Yes.
Yeah. So,
Mhm.
like, it's not crazy to think, okay, well, we're made up of the most common, elements in the universe. Of course, there's other planets that have to be also hosting this as well.
Yeah.
Okay. I think what the debate is, and I know
Mhm.
people disagree with me on this. I know
Mhm.
you're not one of them. You're kind of skeptical, is whether or not we're being visited on this planet.
Yeah.
You know, And people, I know you were pointing out, and I think you were making this point on purpose, that okay, it would take so many millions of years to get to
Mhm.
us from that exoplanet. So any rational person would say, well, it's not possible for a species, an alien species, to make that jump to us. Like they're not able to come visit us.
Yeah.
But I'm going to quote
Mhm,
something from
mhm.
Neil deGrasse Tyson. And now, I agree with Neil on a lot of things, but this is one thing I don't agree with him on because he doesn't believe that aliens are visiting the planet.
Okay.
He doesn't believe it. But he says something that I think kind of proves him wrong in the possibility of it.
Okay.
He uses this example of this the animal on the planet that's next to us in intelligence is the ape, chimpanzees. And so let's take he explains this. Take that gap between an ape and a human, okay? And we're vastly more intelligent than them.
Yeah.
You then flip that, and then you take a human, apply that same gap to another species,
Extrapolate it. Mm.
okay? I mean, and he uses this example. I mean, they're coming out of the womb doing calculus, okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Mm.
the amount of intelligence that that species would have, okay? And I think it is typical human behavior to think that, well, since we don't think it's possible, since we can't possibly fathom traveling that amount of distance, it must not be possible. And that to me is just like typical human behavior that we're the best. There's
Mhm.
nobody better. We're it. We're the top dog.
With that example, is he saying that would be so astronomically un unheard of for a species to be that smart, therefore it's not likely?
No, no, he doesn't say that.
Okay,
No,
okay,
he
okay,
doesn't say that. No,
okay,
no, he doesn't say that.
okay,
He always, I watch these videos where he'll be talking about he doesn't think aliens are visiting the planet.
okay.
He makes jokes that, all the videos are grainy and, that
Well,
this,
yeah,
that, and
yeah,
the other thing. So he doesn't explicitly say that,
yeah,
but he just doesn't believe. He's not convinced.
yeah.
But he uses that example and in different segment. This is not while he was talking about aliens traveling to
Yes,
us.
yeah.
And, like that's the type of intelligence that we can't fathom.
True. And what's crazy about that, and I guess this is with current events, like with AI, that potentially, I mean, AI is turning into a thing that is almost like extraterrestrial because even, I mean, at this point, even the top engineers working on AI don't even understand what's happening under the hood. Like it is becoming more and more of a black box, almost like the Borg is it
Mhm.
in Star Trek. So
Mhm.
maybe we're creating that super intelligent life
Mhm.
that actually is going to be that exponent of smarter than us, which so that's fascinating. The other point, so with our aliens visiting us, the thing that I find it fascinating is to think about, and as you mentioned that I was saying, the vastness of space and the amount of time that it would take to travel. Obviously, so actually there are 2 points that I want to make. So first, with the travel aspect, what's fascinating is that at least on the lifespan or the time scale of a human life, that amount of travel is obviously not possible. We don't know what, potential lifespans could be of a different species, an extraterrestrial species, but at least what we know, that would be like multi-generational travel. Like
Mhm.
you would need to like essentially planet hop, and there have been like simulations done about this, like how long would it take for a species to become an interplanetary, so or interplanetary and then intersolar system species, because you know I mean, I guess as humans, like obviously we have thoughts of colonizing the moon and then Mars, and then there's also, once you get there, then it's like, okay, you can just keep hopping and then go to the next solar system. And so with those time scales of like us to get to K2, if that takes 2 million years, that could just be done with humans that are just living in space. But it's taking, thousands upon thousands, I guess millions upon millions of, generations to get
Hmm.
there. So that's kind of fascinating to think.
Yeah.
But then also because that really puts into perspective like the vastness of distance in space and how that relates to time scale. But then the other aspect that I find fascinating is the time scale of like how different civilizations, how different extraterrestrial life could overlap in terms of time. Because with humans, like with us being such a small blip in Earth's timeline, like there could have been, I mean, honestly, there could have been, even within our solar system, let's say, like Mars could have been a planet that
Oh.
had some sort of alien life
Hmm.
2 billion years ago. Like, I don't know the technicalities
We pretty much
that
proven that there was water once on
exactly,
Mars.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so like so it's even for a planet that is so close to us, just finding like the fossil record of, the previous life is so difficult. So of course that's going to be because it's with all these exoplanets, we're kind of banking on is there current life is, or I guess as far out as you go, hundreds, thousands of light years out. That's light that's hundreds to thousands of light years old. But then could they have had life 2 billion years ago? We don't
Hmm.
know. So like how like what's the probability of like intersecting on a spatial and temporal scale?
Yeah. And I think it's important to note too, like what you're saying, we're on a time crunch here.
Hmm.
Our star, you
True.
know,
It's not
we're
going to live
we
forever.
unless we get out of this solar system,
Hmm.
as soon as the sun bloats to a red giant,
Yeah.
we're done.
Yeah.
It's over. The
Well,
show's over. So, I think that kind of plays out throughout the universe where,
hmm.
these species can only survive as long as the star is stable.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, I think you're talking about, our concept and knowing of what is reality. But there's just a lot of things going on here where it really does seem that it is possible that we're being visited
Hmm.
on our planet.
And,
And I'm a huge believer. I'm a huge believer.
and you've
I
been to Roswell
Oh, yeah, I went to
and
Roswell, in Mexico. I was when we went on a trip to Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine back in 2018, Walt and I. There's a placard on Route 1 that indicates where Betty and Barney Hill were abducted back in
okay.
the 1960s. And they were one of the first prominent couples to claim they were abducted by extraterrestrials.
Yeah.
You know, believe what you want, but some of the things that have been happening recently really make your eyes open. You have um, congressional hearings, and there was congressional hearings just last year and in 2024 where people are coming forward saying that the U.S. government has non-human biologics, that we have non-human crafts, and they're testifying under oath in Congress to Congress members.
Mm,
So that means there's two things here. One, they're telling the truth. Two, they're lying and they're committing perjury and they'd be thrown in jail. So if it
yeah.
comes out that they're saying they're lying, I mean, they could literally rot in jail for the rest of their lives for lying to
Yeah.
Congress. So you can't, you're committing perjury. So that's a big risk to take just because you want to try to make some waves,
Yeah. Or have
uh,
15 minutes of
have
fame.
15 minutes of fame.
Yeah.
You know, um, you have countless people across the planet saying they're seeing these things. You have military officials coming forward saying these are in our airspace. We don't know what they are. You have millions of people across the globe claiming to be abducted by things. Are all those people lying? Are all these people crazy? That's a lot of, I mean, there's a lot of crazy people on in the world, but
Hmm.
I mean, you just have to look at it like I'm truly believe that not everybody can be
And I agree with that. And you even just had me watch a documentary
lying.
on an abduction, which I did find very fascinating to watch. There were a couple things that stood out to me. One thing was that one of the friends that was being interviewed said that they are an entertainer, saying that they don't believe or disbelieve, but they will entertain almost anything. And I feel like that's kind of like the camp that I'm in, where I'm
Hmm.
just like, we don't have proof to say no, but then there's also almost not enough proof to say yes, but not that neither of those facts negate if there could be. And then also it was interesting, my other takeaway from it was that the main guy that was in that one.
Whitney Strieber.
Yes, exactly.
And we're
So
talking about his book that he wrote called Communion.
yes.
Hmm.
And that I did find that very hearing his story, or I don't want to say story, is hearing his experience was very, it was interesting to hear about it from, he clearly went through trauma. And it's like in one sense, you could think like, well, was like, was he having a psychotic break? Was he, you know, having a crazy sleep paralysis demon episode, or but then it's like, or was he abducted by a burglar? Like there are any number of things that you can try to explain like with our current sense of reality, but then at the end of the day, yes, you're right that then there is like so many people who have these stories, so that's interesting. uh,
Yeah, it's not like it's a one-off.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
not like you have five people saying, I was taken by extraterrestrials. You have a lot of people
Yeah.
who have claimed to be abducted by extraterrestrials.
Mm,
And a lot of people. And I think, and one of the things he talks about in Communion, in this documentary that we just watched, I think the documentary is called Visitors. When he released the book, he got over 500,000 letters from people across the world telling him they experienced the same thing. 500,000 people wrote him letters saying they experienced the same thing. Are all those people just experiencing paralysis? You know, and I think people might be questioning, well, why are they talking about this on the
mhm,
astrophotography podcast?
mhm.
And I think the reason why is because I want to understand more the things I'm imaging and like what possibilities might exist. And if it were to come out today that 100% extraterrestrials are real, they're visiting the planet, my whole conception and understanding of the things I am imaging right out front on my sidewalk, like to me, it would all be different.
Yes.
It would all be different.
Mhm.
Like when I'm looking at something, I would almost feel like, wow, there's life there that I'm imaging. If like we found out today that extraterrestrials are real, they're visiting the planet. Like, I don't know, it would just change my perspective on the entire hobby. And to me, it would make it even more meaningful.
Well,
Not only am I taking art, I'm taking photos of other people's homes, like
yeah,
home systems. Like
civilizations.
it would
Yeah,
be mind blowing to
yeah.
me.
Well, and it's interesting that you say meaningful because there's also Carl Sagan quote, I forget what the exact quote is, but basically that humans are what give the universe meaning because
Mhm.
we're the universe's way of understanding itself and looking back at itself. And so if, you know, there are a couple things with that. First, if once humans are gone, then all of a sudden the universe no longer has any meaning or any consciousness.
I think what you're
I
trying, almost like, it's almost like if a tree falls in the forest and there's
yeah,
no one there to hear it, doesn't make a sound.
that's 100% the
And
concept.
yeah, and
Yeah.
you're thinking of that concept on the universal scale.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yep. You know what? Actually, what that also brings up, and I will pull this up really quickly because it's definitely relevant to talk about, is the paradox.
Oh yeah.
So the Fermi paradox is, yeah, it's, well, okay, so this is a Google Gemini quick one
Hmm.
sentence review. But basically, it highlights the contradiction between the high probability of extraterrestrial life and the total lack of evidence for it. And so, like, that is a fascinating way of putting it, actually, because it's valid to ask ourselves, like, where where is everyone else? Like,
Hmm.
because we keep trying to make ourselves known. We're
Mhm.
sending radio signals out. We've sent Voyager out with, the exact directions for how to find us and what humans are like and everything. So if we're trying so hard to make ourselves known, like, why have we not been contacted by anyone?
And I'm gonna argue with you for a second here, Brett.
Hmm.
That whole paradigm, lack of evidence, I disagree that there is lacking of evidence. I know there's no gun ho, yes, but lacking evidence, I think, is pretty bold to say. First off, let me just give you this example. Before all the surveillance cameras and everything, let's say somebody robs a bank and there's three witnesses that saw the bank robber. Police bring the bank robber in. They put the bank robber in a lineup of seven other people, and they bring in those three witnesses, and those three witnesses pick the bank robber.
Yeah.
They witness it. That person will be convicted of robbing the bank
Okay.
because you have three witnesses. They saw him. Why is it any different that we have millions of people across the planet saying they've witnessed this? They witnessed things flying in the sky. They've witnessed, they may have claimed to be abducted, and they're all witnessing pretty much the same thing. They're all describing the same thing. They're all seeing the same thing. But yet, all of a sudden, that's not considered evidence. It doesn't make any sense to me. To me, that is evidence. Human testimony is evidence.
Yeah.
It's evidence in the judicial system. Why wouldn't it be evidence in this regard?
It's interesting because it's evident. Well, I think the fact that you said testimony, I think that's a key for it because it is testimony. That is people's
Yeah, but they enter
own.
testimony
w-
into evidence.
Exactly. But I think the fact is that testimony doesn't necessarily hold up in science necessarily. And
Mm,
so and I think that's why, especially in the scientific community, there are things like the Drake equation or the Fermi paradox, where it's those are essentially equations or thought experiments on like the probability of life. And it's basically as far as science can get to I guess exploring that conceptually and then I guess scientifically also the 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 major studies in exoplanets now. So it's like science will continue to test hypotheses or gather data until enough proof is there. Or like I don't want to say the word proof maybe until scientific evidence
mm.
rather than just testimonies makes it a fact. So I think, it's almost, and maybe I'll say this, it's almost not it and that does not mean that the scientific community does not believe
Yeah, of course.
people.
Yeah, of
It's
course.
th it's that they're just waiting for the concrete evidence to catch up to
Mhm.
that. And then the other concept that's interesting, because especially as we get to, um, I guess, UFO sightings or abduction, that does get to the point of like, okay, if aliens are visiting us, we were talking about the time scales. It's like, how potentially were they doing that? And so then that also goes into technologies that are beyond our comprehension.
Yeah, I mean, there's some of the people who have testified in front of Congress. They describe it that these crafts are able to manipulate time and space around them.
Yeah, which is
So, I mean, if you're capable of doing that, if you're capable of manipulating time and space around you,
yeah,
I mean, it's not going to take you a million years to travel somewhere then,
yeah,
theoretically,
mhm,
if you can manipulate time and space.
yeah, and that goes to another concept that I had learned about that I found fascinating. So this isn't specifically about space, but just about dimensionality,
Hmm.
and we are a three-dimensional species
Hmm.
operating in on a time scale, so in 4D with time. But if we're only talking about dimensions in terms of spatial, it's the concept that a 1D object can't conceptualize 2D space, and a 2D object can't conceptualize 3D space.
Mm.
And so then we are 3D objects, and we can't conceptualize 4D space. But that doesn't mean that there isn't 4D space that is cognizant of what our three-dimensional existence looks like. So
Correct.
it's that, and that all just goes into things where mathematically we've figured out how to calculate three, four, five, six dimensions and so on, spatial dimensions.
Hmm.
So we mathematically know, but we as humans can't conceptually wrap our heads around it.
Yeah,
So that's fascinating.
it is fascinating. Almost like the same thing of like, are there colors that exist on other planets that we don't
Hmm.
like never saw before? And then you go to
Exactly.
think of a color that, oh, what would the color look like that I've never seen before?
You
You
can't.
can't imagine
Yeah.
it. Exactly.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I guess it's something similar to that
Yeah.
sense. I
So
mean, I could talk about this for, oh my gosh, I could talk about this forever.
I know.
Because like I've told you, Brett, I've had experiences and I
Hmm.
don't care if viewers judge me.
Hmm.
I've seen things in the night sky, the daytime sky, couldn't explain. Does that mean that there isn't an explanation for it? Of course not,
Yeah.
you know? But I've known things that I've seen that made me believe like, wow, that's wild. So, I don't know. I just think I don't know how deep you want me to get into the weeds here about conspiracy, but I mean, there is a huge campaign, at least there was back in the day, of when people would come forward with information or like with sightings and stuff, a huge discredit campaign.
Okay.
Huge discredit campaign. You were crazy. Oh, they were on drugs. You were all kinds of crazy stuff would come out. It was almost unbelievable for a politician to say anything about aliens or UFOs or anything like that because the discredit campaign would go in full force. I will tell you what I'll be mad about. I'll tell you what I'll be mad about.
Okay.
If the US government knows that aliens exist, okay, and we're spending billions of dollars at NASA to try to find if aliens exist, talk about a waste of taxpayer dollars. Talk about some waste of money. If the federal government knows, which a lot of people believe, that the
Hmm.
federal government knows aliens exist, and we're spending billions at NASA to see if they exist, I mean, to me, that would be a perfect federal government thing to do. But,
Yeah.
you know, that's just,
The thing with that is that, yeah, I do agree that would be quite the hypocrisy, or
yeah,
misuse of
stupidity.
fun. Then at the same time, I think that does go back to the scientific aspect of, like, even with our studies on like exoplanets, it's still, I would say that well, I don't know. Like, I don't know that us knowing that, like, maybe we have aliens in Area 51 or something doesn't necessarily mean that we know that that gives us all the information we need about exoplanets. But I see the point that you're getting at.
Well, talking about Area 51, President Obama, former President Obama, was just interviewed
Yeah. Oh yes.
on um, some podcast. I mean, he's not on our podcast. I would love to have a president on our
Yeah.
podcast. He was doing quick firing questions
Yeah.
to the president, former president, and one of them is aliens real? And Barack Obama, without hesitation, said, "Yeah, they're real, but we don't have them at Area 51." That's what he
Yeah.
said.
I
He
know.
said, "Yes, they're real,
Yeah.
but we don't have them at Area 51. Like that doesn't
And
exist."
it's interesting because of, like, was that just a slip of the tongue with, like, the way he did that? But I mean, heck, he is
It was
one.
without
Yeah,
hesitation.
and he is one of, the smartest humans on the planet. So it's like
Yeah.
he is media trained and all that
Media
stuff.
trained.
Yeah,
As being a president, you have to be trained to think on your feet.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
that was to me that was
A
shocking.
little
Now he
daring.
did
Yeah,
release a statement the next day after the media frenzy that took
yeah,
place. He did release a statement the next day saying, I forget exactly what he said, that he's never saw any concrete proof or blah 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 blah.
yeah.
Um, the CIA probably called him up and said, "Hey, you got to retract what you just said." Who knows?
I bet
Yeah,
so.
yeah, who knows?
Um,
But we're running out of time,
we are.
and I just think moral of the story is I know personally when I'm up on my sidewalk here and I'm taking these images, I firmly believe that there are things looking back at me. I firmly believe it,
Mm,
and I firmly believe that there is a high probability, in my opinion,
mm-hmm.
that they're already here. In my opinion,
Yeah,
and I don't judge people who don't think that. I would just ask that people don't judge me
Mhm.
for thinking that they are coming here.
Yeah.
Because I won't sit here. I know that you're a skeptic.
Mm.
I'm not going to sit here and judge you. I'm not going to,
Yeah. Yeah.
berate you or anything.
Mhm.
But I will say I would like the same treatment back from society, that I'm not treated as some lunatic
Yeah.
because I believe in this.
Well,
When
and
there is evidence,
there is.
there's human testimony that this is happening.
Mhm.
There's photographs, there's videos. It's not like we're just talking about testimony. There's
Mhm.
also photographs and videos.
Yeah. Well, the photographs and
And
videos.
some debris, and
Well,
some
it
scientific evidence of, like, high radiation at landing sites, and, grass that died where people claim that something landed, like, there's
yeah.
also physical evidence.
Things that are very difficult or impossible to explain
Mhm,
without, but it's like the fact that it's impossible for us to explain doesn't mean that then the only explanation is extraterrestrial, which is
mhm,
where that's when it goes into my stance of I do not believe or disbelieve, but I do conceptually. Here's what I think. Conceptually, I do not think humans are the only intelligent life in the universe. I think
and I
that
think that's reasonable.
exactly, like with the billions of billions upon trillions and beyond stars, galaxies in the universe, there's impossible for me to think that there is not intelligent life elsewhere. I think, and we've already proven that there's non-intelligent life in, like water systems, oceans, on moons, on other planets. Like it's crazy to think that like a galaxy that we can't even see might have, like, actually here's a crazy thought that I would say. Earlier we were talking about interplanetary or intersolar system species. There could be intergalactic species
Mhm,
on the other side of the universe that we have no way of there's no way for us to find any there's no way for us to detect that at
mhm,
all,
mm,
which is so fascinating to me. It almost conceptually makes it so that it's like as humans, our view of the universe is so, again, limited in spatial and temporal, aspects, which is just, yeah, that's so fascinating
yeah,
to me.
it really is. I don't know, it's a very interesting concept, and it you can tie some of the work we do with astrophotography into it, just like I said, because of us taking pictures of this stuff,
Yeah.
collecting data on these
Mhm.
objects. Could something be there taking
Yeah,
data on us?
I know, which I love thinking that, especially with the Andromeda Galaxy, like you
Yeah.
brought up. Like, that's our neighboring sister galaxy, and could very well be it could very well be a place that, yeah, another Earth is exactly someone taking
Mhm.
pictures of us. And so I'm also what I wanted to do, I think we can take a little bit of a break to get into other aspects of what
Yeah.
we're talking about. Well, so first, I think that viewers
Oh,
should
yes.
notice our
Yes.
logo back here. So Thorn Ransom, one of our uh one of our fans, our viewers, one of our friends, now he imaged the Flaming Star Nebula
Yeah.
and combined it with our logo
Yeah.
to make this incredible fan art.
It's probably a little hard for the viewers to see the stars, but it does say flaming
Mhm.
stars at the bottom there.
Yes.
And then he filled in the flaming star nebula into the logo. It's
Yep,
beautiful.
it is.
Thank you, Thorn.
Yep.
Really
Thank you
appreciate
so
it.
much.
Thank you so much. It's beautiful. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Yes.
Thank you, Thorn. We really
Mhm.
appreciate you doing that
Yes.
for us.
And then, I guess, and then speaking of fans, I'll bring up my brother. We're still trying to see if he's gonna listen, so or watch the podcast. So yeah, so first shout out to him for doing the music for the podcast,
Hmm.
cue the music, that will be playing in the background right now. And we are counting how many episodes it takes for him to notice this shout out
And this
to
is the
him.
third.
And this is the third
Yeah.
episode. So
So
we've
go
gone,
follow him.
yes,
Go follow
go
him.
follow him at
Yeah.
Oakbird Audio.
Hmm.
And yeah, we'll see if he listens to this episode. And this is all in good fun because we are brothers, and
Hmm.
it's funny to. He obviously has been very supportive,
Yeah.
helping us with the music and everything. But and he wants to be a guest on the podcast. So actually, I think that would be funny if the big reveal for this cover is when we have him
had it on the show.
And-
yeah. And then oh my gosh,
and then
while he's on the show,
he's on
we
the
do
show,
this
we do
segment.
it. Like,
Yes.
what's
yes.
happening?
Yes. Yes.
So,
That's hilarious.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
hilarious. Yeah. Yeah.
We may or may not cut this out just so that I don't know, that people don't have our grand plan. But no, that would be funny.
That would be funny. Yeah. That'd be great.
And then
I think every episode we do something that's cosmic yet brave.
Yeah. But yes, I guess Nick, what is something that you find cosmic yet brave?
And I talked about it in today's podcast. My cosmic yet brave is aliens are real. They are visiting the planet. And I truly believe people who claim they're being abducted are being abducted. That's my cosmic yet brave.
Okay.
And I know there's going to be some astrophotographers who think I'm a waggly doodly do. And that's okay. I think life's all about mutual respect.
Yeah.
So, but that's my cosmic yet brave.
Yeah.
So,
and I don't think believing that puts you at the level of like
wackily doodly do.
That or I don't know, flat earther. I'm not gonna.
Oh gosh. I would sure hope that none of our astrophotography viewers are flat earthers.
Yes, exactly.
Oh my God.
You all have equatorial mouths. So yeah.
It'd be impossible for it to be a flat earth. But we'll get into that. Maybe that's a topic for another day.
Exactly.
And we can create some drama stir on YouTube with the flat earthers.
Yeah, exactly.
We're probably gonna get some hate from flat earthers now.
I know. Comment if you're a flat earther. Don't actually do.
Yeah. Maybe we should have a flat earther on the show.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and just
because we do want to learn from.
I don't need to learn what a flat earther has to say.
I want to understand what their mind working on this.
Yeah,
like I just
true.
As a fascination, and that maybe sounds rude to say as a has. No, it doesn't. No.
Well, no, I mean wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
The Earth is not flat. They're wrong.
Yeah.
So anyway, what's your cosmic yet brave?
My cosmic yet brave it's about restaurant menus, actually. Yeah. And it basically
That's a twist. I had no idea.
I know, exactly, yeah. It's basically that if you list something on your menu, please put every ingredient listed
for crying
out. Because just because one of the ingredients is in the title of it doesn't mean that you are expecting that ingredient on the dish.
Right. I'm going to explain to the viewers what the hell you're talking about right now. Well, just last night, we're out at a place in Phoenixville here. We order flatbread pizzas. The name of the flatbread pizza, I'm going to look at the camera for this. I don't want to talk to the audience about this. The name of the flatbread pizza was Peaches.
Peaches, but plural. So it sounded like it was a cutesy name to like.
Wouldn't you think? And I'm talking directly to you now. Wouldn't you think that there would be peaches on the flatbread pizza?
Had the rest of the ingredients that were listed were prosciutto, arugula. It was like a typical, prosciutto arugula pizza, and I just thought that peaches. Honestly, here's what. I thought it was maybe a Pennsylvania thing. I thought it was I thought that was what Pennsylvania called that type of pizza. But no, apparently peaches were on the pizza.
And it looked disgusting.
It actually tasted really good.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Exactly.
But okay. I mean, I guess we can make the recommendation to the restaurant in town.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, by the way,
this
you should not only name it Peaches.
Yeah.
Below, you should put that it has.
Yeah, you should list peaches. Yeah. In the ingredients. But that was my concept yet brave.
Yeah. Okay. And I think so. Talking about we're running out of time. Talking about
1 minute.
Adam being a guest on the show. Yeah. We need to start having guests. So I'm hoping next episode, or maybe the episode after that, we start having guests on the show.
Yeah.
And I think just to bring other astrophotographers in, just to get different perspectives. I know some of our astrophotographers that we've been talking to on Instagram, some of them have a multitude of interests and can bring in different perspectives. Some of them are just actual photographers too. Earth-based
Yeah.
photographers of earthly things. And I think it'd be cool to maybe talk about that. I think some of our guests would be able to bring a lot of a different perspective
Yeah,
to
and
astrophotography.
as we were saying in previous episodes too, meteorologists
Yeah,
or
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, because my our friend Matt, who lives in the Chicago
yeah, he was
suburbs,
in the
he's
Chicago
also
area.
into meteorology. Me and
Hmm.
him always talk about our weather stations
Yeah.
and stuff.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, many of us as astrophotographers obviously love the weather or at least watch the weather a
Hmm.
lot. Then yeah, I guess another thing really quickly to say because we always talk about it, the near Earth object,
Oh
which
yes, the asteroid. Yeah,
I do have
and
a
I
photo
always
of.
make the joke: is it going to hit us or not?
Yeah,
Will we be
exactly.
here? Will we not be here?
So let's see. So it's object 2026 DQ8.
Hmm. How far away is it?
So first, it's in the constellation Tucana, which actually I don't. That's not on our side of the globe. I don't think I've ever heard of that.
Hmm.
Well, maybe I might be wrong, but
Hmm.
the let's see, distance to Earth in kilometers. Oh, it's really far. Okay, 2.8 million kilometers.
Oh,
In light travel time, that's 9.52 seconds.
oh, okay.
Light seconds.
Yep.
So yeah, actually that's much farther than the other ones that we've
Yeah,
noted.
it is. Yeah.
So okay, that one
Okay,
if
I
the others
won't.
didn't hit us, then
Yeah, that one
probably
won't hit
won't
us
hit us
either. Okay.
either.
Well, some might say that's a bummer, but
Um
okay. Well,
yeah,
Brett, I am so glad we got to do this in person.
I am too.
Um, I hope we get to do more in-person ones
Mm-hmm.
down the road.
Mm-hmm.
I know we're going to be planning our Astro trip, yearly Astro trip. I'm sure we can do one
Yeah.
episode then too in
Yep.
person.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, otherwise, it's great to have you in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, it's been great. Thank
Yeah,
you for having me.
yeah, glad to have you here. You're welcome anytime. That's all I got to say today.
Okay.
This is probably gonna be one of my favorite episodes because
Because
it's aliens.
we're oh oh
Yeah, because it's aliens. Well, and because we're in my
and
house.
because I'm here.
Oh, because you're here.
Yeah,
Oh
exactly.
my
But
gosh.
okay, no, I see, I see.
Talk about having an
I
inflated
see.
ego.
Oh. Okay. Wait, inflated ego.
I don't know.
No,
Whatever.
I'm no, I'm trying to say that you're the one with it. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. You
Well, maybe a little
no.
bit. Mm,
Mm,
yeah.
mm,
Sometimes I have a hard time fitting my NASA hat on my head.
okay. Okay.
Okay, we need to
Okay.
stop now
We do.
before.
Okay, we're gonna end the episode and cue the outro music.
Yes, thank you, Adam, for the music. Thank you.